Eat that frog. 22 ways to avoid procrastination. Chapter 5. Practice creative procrastination. Make time for getting big tasks done every day. Plan your daily workload in advance. Single out the relatively few small jobs that absolutely must be done immediately in the morning. Then go directly to the big tasks and pursue them to completion. Boardroom reports. Creative procrastination is one of the most effective of all personal performance techniques. It can change your life. The fact is that you can't do everything that you have to do. You have to procrastinate on something. Therefore, procrastinate on small tasks. Put off eating smaller or less ugly frogs. Eat the biggest and the ugliest frogs before anything else. Do the worst first. Everyone procrastinates. The difference between high performers and the low performers is largely determined by what they choose to procrastinate on. Since you must procrastinate anyway, decide today to procrastinate on low values activities. Decide to procrastinate, outsource, delegate, and eliminate those activities that don't make much of a contribution to your life in any case. Get rid of the tadpoles and focus on the frogs. Priorities versus posteriorities. Here is the key point. To set proper priorities, you must set posteriorities as well. A priority is something that you do more of and sooner, while a posteriority is something that you do less of and later, if at all. Rule: you can only get your time and your life under control to the degree to which you discontinue lower value activities. One of the most powerful of all words in time management is the word no. Say it politely and courteously. Say it clearly so that there is no misunderstandings. Say it regularly as a normal part of your time management vocabulary. Say no to anything that is not a high value use of your time and your life. Say no graciously but firmly to avoid agreeing to something against your will. Say it early and say it often. Remember that you have no spare time. As we say, your dance card is full. For you to do something new, you must complete or stop doing something old. Getting in requires getting out. Picking up means putting down. Creative procrastination is the act of thoughtfully and deliberately deciding upon the exact thing you are not going to do right now, if ever. Procrastinate on purpose. Most people engage in unconscious procrastination. They procrastinate without thinking about it. As a result, they procrastinate on big, valuable, important tasks that can have significant long-term consequences to their lives and careers. You must avoid this common tendency at all costs. Your job is to deliberately procrastinate on those tasks that are of low value so that you have more time for those tasks that can make a big difference in your life and work. Continually review your duties and responsibilities to identify those time-consuming tasks and activities that you can abandon with no real loss. This is an ongoing responsibility for you that never ends. For example, a friend of mine, when he was single, was an avid golfer. He liked to golf 3 and 4 times a week, 3 to 4 hours each time. Over a period of years, he started a business, got married, and had 2 children. But he still played golf 3 to 5 times a week until he finally realized that his time on the golf course was causing him enormous stress at home and at the office. It was only by abandoning most of his golf games that he could get his life back under control. Set posteriorities on time-consuming activities. Continually review your life and work to find out those time-consuming tasks and activities that you can abandon with no real loss. Cut down on television watching and spend the time saved with your family, or reading, or exercising, or doing something that enhances the quality of your life. Look at your work activities and identify the tasks that you could delegate or eliminate to free up more time for the work that really counts. Begin today to practice creative procrastination to set posterities wherever and whenever you can. This decisions alone can enable you to get your time and your life under control. Eat that frog. Practice zero-based thinking on every part of your life. Ask yourself continually, if I was not doing this already, knowing what I now know, would I start it up or get it get into it again today. If it is something you would not start up again today, knowing what you know, it is a prime candidate for abandonment or creative procrastination. Examine each of your personal and work activities and evaluate it based on your current situation. Select at least one activity to abandon immediately or at least deliberately put off until your more important goals have been achieved. Chapter 6. Use the ABCDE method continually. The first law of success is concentration. To bend all the energies to one point and to go directly to that point, looking neither to the right or to the left. William Matthews. The more thought you invest in planning and setting priorities before you begin, the more important things you will do and the faster you will get them done once you get started. The most important and valuable the task is to you, the more likely you will be motivated and to overcome procrastination and launch yourself into the job. The ABCDE method is a powerful priority setting technique that you can use every single day. This technique is so simple and effective that it can all by itself make you one of the most efficient and effective people in your field. Think on paper. The power of this technique lies in its simplicity. Here is how it works. You start with a listing of everything you have to do for the coming day. Think on paper. You then place an ABCDE before each item on your list before you begin the first task. An A item is defined as something that is very important. That is something that you must do. This is a task for which there can be serious consequences if you do it or fail to do it, like visiting a key customer or finishing a report for your boss that she needs for an upcoming board meeting. These are the frogs of your life. If you have more than one A task, you prioritize these tasks by writing A1, A2, A3 and so on in front of each item. Your A1 task is your biggest and ugliest frog of all. Shoulds versus musts. A B item is defined as a task that you should do, but it only has mild consequences. These are the tadpoles of your work life. This means that someone may be unhappy or inconvenienced if you don't do it, but it is nowhere as important as an A task. Returning an unimportant task, telephone message or reviewing your email would be a B task. The rule is that you should never do a B task when there is an A task left undone. You should never be distracted by a tadpole when there is a big frog sitting there waiting to be eaten. A C task is defined as something that would be nice to do but for which there are no consequences at all, whether you do it or not. C tasks include phoning a friend, having coffee or lunch with a coworker, or completing some personal business during work hours. This sort of activity has no effect at all on your work life. A D task is defined as something that you can delegate to someone else. The rule is that you should delegate everything that anyone else can do so that you can free up more time for the A tasks that you only can do. An E task is defined as something that you can eliminate altogether and it won't make any real difference. This may be a task that was important at one time but which is no longer relevant to yourself or anyone else. Often it is something you continue to do out of habit or because you enjoy it. But every minute that is spent on an E task is time taken away from a task or activity that can make a real difference in your life. After you have applied the ABCDE method to your list, you will now be completely organized and ready to get more important things done faster. Take action immediately. The key to making this ABCDE method work is for you to now discipline yourself to start immediately on your A1 task and then stay at it until it is complete. Use your willpower to get going and stay going on this one job. The most important single task you could do, possibly eat the whole frog and don't stop until it's finished completely. Your ability to think through and analyze your work list and determine your A1 task is the springboard to higher levels of accomplishment and greater self-esteem, self-respect and personal pride. When you develop the habit of concentrating on your A1, most important activity on eating or frog, you will start getting more done than any 2 or 3 people around you. Eat that frog. Review your work list right now and put an ABCDE next to each activity or task. Select your A1 job or project and begin on it immediately. Discipline yourself to do nothing else until this one job is complete. Practice this ABCDE method every day and on every work or project list before you begin work for the next month. By that time, you will have developed the habit of setting or working on your highest priority task and your future will be assured. Chapter 7. Focus on key result areas. When every physical or mental resource is focused, one's power to solve a problem multiplies tremendously. Norman Vincent Peale. Why are you on the payroll? This is one of the most important questions you ever ask and never over and over again throughout career answer. As it happens, most people are not sure exactly why they are on payroll. But if you are not crystal clear about why it is that you are on the payroll and what results you have been hired to accomplish, it is very hard for you to perform at your best, get paid more, and promoted faster. In its simplest terms, you have been hired to get specific results. A wage or a salary is a payment for a specific quality or quantity of work that can be combined with the work of others to create a product or service that customers are willing to pay for. Each job can be broken down into 5 to 6 key results areas, seldom more. These are the results that you absolutely positively have to get to fulfill your responsibilities and make your maximum contribution to your organization. Key results areas are similar to the vital functions of your body, such as blood pressure, heart rate, respiratory rate, and brainwave activity. An absence of any one of these vital functions leads to the death of the organisms. By the same token, your failure to perform in a critical result area of your work can lead to the end of your job as well. The big 7 in management and sales. For example, the key result areas of management are planning, organizing, staffing, delegating, supervising, measuring, and reporting. These are the results that a manager must get to succeed in his or her area of responsibility. A weakness in any one of these areas can lead to underachievement and failure as a manager. The key result areas of salespeople are prospecting, building rapport and trust, identifying needs, presenting persuasively, answering objections, closing the sale, and getting resales and referrals. Poor performance in any of these key skills leads to lower sales and sometimes failure as a salesperson. Whatever you do, there are essential skills that you must have for you to do your job in an excellent fashion. These demands are constantly changing. There are core competencies that you have developed that make it possible for you to do your job in the first place. But there are always key results that are central to your work and which determines your success or failure in your job. What are yours? A key result area is defined as something for which you are completely responsible. This means that if you don't do it, it doesn't get done. A key result area is an activity that is under your control. It is an output of your work that becomes an input or a contributing factor to the work of others. Clarity is essential. The starting point of high performance is for you to first of all identify the key result areas of your work. Discuss them with your boss. Make a list of your most important output responsibilities and make sure that the people above you, next to you, or below you are in agreement with it. For example, for a salesperson, opening a new account is a key result area. This activity is the key to the entire sales process. Closing a sale is a key result area. When the sale is made, it triggers the activity of many other people to produce and deliver the product or service. For a company owner or a key executive, negotiating a bank loan is a key result area. Hiring the right people and delegating effectively are both key result areas. For a receptionist or secretary, typing a letter or answering the phone and transferring the caller quickly and efficiently are defined as key result areas. The employee's ability to perform these tasks quickly and efficiently largely determines her pay and promotability. Give yourself a grade. Once you have determined your key result areas, the second step for you to grade yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 in each of those areas. Where are you strong and where are you weak? Where are you getting excellent results and where are you underperforming? rule. Your weakest key result area sets the height at which you can use your all other skills and abilities. This rule says that you could be exceptional in 6 out of 7 key result areas but really poor in the 7th, and your poor performance in the 7th area will hold you back and determine how much you achieve with all your other skills. This weakness will act as a drag on your effectiveness and be a constant source of friction and frustration. For example, delegating is a key result area for a manager. This skill is the key leverage point that enables a manager to manage to get the results through others. A manager who cannot delegate properly is held back from using all his or her other skills at their maximum level of effectiveness. Poor delegation skills alone can lead to failure in the job. Poor performance produces procrastination. One of the major reasons for procrastination and delay in the workplace is that people avoid jobs and activities in those areas where they have performed poorly in the past. Instead of setting a goal and making a plan to improve in a particular area, most people avoid that area altogether, which just makes the situation worse. The reverse of this is that the better you become in a particular skill area, the more motivated you will be to perform that function, the less you will be procrastinate, and the more determined you will be to get it finished. The fact is that everybody has both strengths and weaknesses. Refuse to rationalize, justify or defend your areas of weakness. Instead, identify them clearly, set a goal and make a plan to become very good in each of those areas. Just think. You may be only one critical skill away from top performance at your job. The great question. Here is one of the greatest questions you will ever ask and answer. What one skill, if I developed and did it in an excellent fashion, would have the greatest positive impact on my career? You should use this question to guide your career for the rest of your life. Look into yourself for the answer. You usually know what it is. Ask your boss this question, ask your co-workers, ask your friends and your family. Whatever it is, find out and then go to the work to bring up your performance in this area. The good news is that all business skills are learnable. If anyone else is excellent in that particular area, that is proof that you can become excellent as well if you decide to. One of the fastest and best ways to stop procrastinating and get more things done faster is for you to become absolutely excellent in your key result areas. This can be as important as anything else you do in your life or your career. Identify the key result areas of your work. What are they? Write down the key results you have to get to do your job in an excellent fashion. Give yourself a grade from 1 to 10 on each one. And then determine the one key skill that, if you did it in an excellent manner, would help you the most in your work. Take this list to your boss and discuss it with him or her. Invite honest feedback and appraisal. You can only get better when you are open to the constructive inputs of other people. Discuss your results with your staff and co-workers. Talk them over with your spouse. Make a habit of doing this analysis regularly for the rest of your career. Never stop improving. This decision alone can change your life. Chapter 8. The Law of 3. Do what you can with what you have right where you are. Theodore Roosevelt. There are 3 core tasks that you perform that contain most of your value that you contribute to your business or organization. Your ability to accurately identify these 3 key tasks and then to focus on them most of the time is essential for you to achieve at your best. Let me tell you a story. 3 months after her first full day coaching session with me in San Diego, Cynthia stood up and told the group a story. She said, "When I came here 90 days ago, you claimed that you would show me how to double my income and double my time off within 12 months. This sounded completely unrealistic, but I was willing to give it a try." She went on, "On the first day, you asked me to write down a list of everything that I did over the course of a week or a month. I came up with 17 tasks that I was responsible for. My problem was that I was completely overwhelmed with work. I was working 10 to 12 hours per day, 6 days per week, and not spending enough time with my husband and my 2 young children. But I didn't see any way out. I had been working for 8 years for a fast growing entrepreneurial company in the high tech area, but there always seemed to be an overwhelming amount of work to do and never enough time. One thing all day long, she continued with her story. Once I had made up this list, you then told me to ask this question. If you could do only one thing on this list all day long, which one task would you contribute the greatest value to your company? Once I had identified that task, which was quite easy, I put a circle around that number. You then asked, if you could only do one more thing on your list of key tasks, which would be the second activity that contributes the most value to your company? Once I had identified the second most important task, you asked me the same question with regard to the third most important task. You then said something that shocked me at the time. You said that fully 90% of the value that you contribute to your company is contained in those three tasks, whatever they were. Everything else you do is either a support task or a complementary task that could probably be delegated, downsized, outsourced, or eliminated. Take immediate action. Cynthia continued with her story. As I looked at the three tasks, I realized that there were the three things that I did that contributed the most to my company. This was on a Friday. On Monday morning at 10 o'clock, I met with my boss and explained to him what I had discovered. I told him that I needed his help in delegating and outsourcing all my work except for those three key tasks. I felt that if I could work on these three tasks exclusively all day long, I could more than double my contribution to the company. Then I said to him that if I doubled my contribution, I would like to be paid twice as much. She said. My boss was completely silent. He looked at my list of key tasks, looked back up at me, looked at the list again, and then said, okay, it was now 10:21 according to the clock on the wall behind him. He said, you are right. These are the three most important things that you do in this company, and the three things that you do the best. I will help you to delegate and downsize all these other minor tasks to free you up to work full time on these three key tasks. And if you double your contribution, I will pay you twice as much. Transform your life. Cynthia concluded her story by saying, she did, then I did, then he did. She helped me delegate and assign my minor tasks so I could concentrate on my top three jobs. As a result, I doubled my output over the next 30 days and he doubled my income. She said, I had been working very hard for more than 8 years and I doubled my income in less than 1 month by focusing all my time and energy on my key three tasks. Not only that, instead of working 10 and 12 hours a day, I worked from 8 to 5 and spent time in the evenings and on the weekends with my husband and my children. Focusing on my key tasks has transformed my life. Perhaps the most important word in the world of the work is contribution. Your reward, both financial and emotional, will always be in direct proportion to your results, to the value of your contribution. If you want to increase your rewards, you must focus on increasing the value of what you do. You must dedicate yourself to contributing more results to your company, and there are always three key tasks that contribute the most. The quick list method. Here is an exercise that we give to our coaching clients every early in the process. We give them a sheet of paper and ask them, in 30 seconds write down your three most important goals in life right now. What we have found is that when you only have 30 seconds to write your three most important goals, your answer will be as accurate as if you had 30 minutes or 3 hours. Your subconscious mind seems to go into a form of hyperdrive and your three most important goals will pop out of your head and onto the paper, often to the surprise of the person doing the exercise. In 80% or more of the cases, the three common goals that most people have are: first, a financial or career goal; second, a family or personal relationship goal; third, a health or fitness goal. This is as it should be. There are the three most important areas of life. If you give yourself a grade on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being the lowest and 10 being the highest, and apply this scale to each of these areas, you can immediately identify where you are doing well in life and where you need some improvement. Try it yourself and see. Give this test to your spouse or your children. The answers can be quite revealing. Later in our coaching program, we expand this exercise by asking the following questions. What are your three most important business or career goals right now? What are your three most important family or relationship goals right now? What are your three most important financial goals right now? What are your 3 most important health goals right now? What are your 3 most important personal and professional development goals right now? What are your 3 most important social and community goals right now? What are your 3 biggest problems and concerns in your life right now? When you focus yourself to ask answers this question in 30 seconds or less, you will often be amazed at the answers. Whatever your answers, they will usually be an accurate snapshot of your true situation in life at the moment. These answers will tell you what is really important to you. While you are setting goals and priorities, getting organized, concentrating single-mindedly on one task at a time, and disciplining yourself to complete your most important task, you must never forget that your ultimate goal is to live a long, happy and healthy life. Time management is a means to an end. The main reason that you develop time management skills is so that you can get everything that is really important in your work completed, so that you can free up your more and more time to do the things in your personal life that give you the greatest happiness and satisfaction. Fully 85% of your happiness in life will come from happy relationship with other people, especially those closest to you and the members of your family. The critical determinant of the quality of your relationship is the amount of time that you spend face to face with the people you love and who you love you in return. The purpose of time management skills of eating that frog and getting more done in less time is to enable you to spend more face to face time with the people you care about, doing the things that you give you the greatest amount of joy in life. Rule: it is quality of time at work that counts and quantity of time at home that matters. Work all the time you work. To keep your life in balance, you should resolve to work all the time you work. When you go to work, put your head down and work the whole time. Start a little earlier, stay a little later, and work on a little harder. Don't waste time. Every minute that you spend in idle chit-chat with co-workers is time taken away from the work that you must accomplish if you want to keep your job. Even worse, time that you waste at work often has to be taken away from the members of your family. You either have to stay late or take home work or work in the evenings. By not working effectively and efficiently during your work day, you create unnecessary stress and you deprive the members of your family of the very best person you can possibly be. There is a story of a little girl who goes to her mother and asks, "Mommy, why does Daddy bring a briefcase full of work home each night and never spends any time with the family?" The mother replies sympathetically, "Well, honey, you have to understand, Daddy can't get his work done at the office, so he has to bring it home and get caught up here." The little girl then asks, "If that's the case, why don't they put him in a lower class?" Balance is not an option. One of the most important famous saying of the ancient Greeks was moderation in all things. You need balance between your work and your personal life. You need to set priorities at work and concentrate on your most valuable tasks. At the same time, you must never lose sight of the fact that the reason for working efficiently is so that you can enjoy a higher quality of life at home with your family. Sometimes people come up with me and ask, "How do I achieve balance between my work and my home life?" I ask them in return, how often does a tightrope walker balance when he is on the high wire? After a few seconds of thinking, they almost always say, "All the time." I say that is the same situation with the balance between family and home life. You have to do it all the time. You never reach a point where you have attained it perfectly. You have to work at it. Your goal should be to perform at your best at work and to get the very most done and enjoy the very highest of reward and possible for you in your career. Simultaneously, you must always remember to smell the flowers along the way. Never lose sight of the real reasons why you work as hard as you do and why you are so determined to accomplish the very most with the time that you invest. The more time you invest face to face with the people you love, the happier you will be. Eat that frog. Determine the 3 most important things that you do in your work. Ask, if I could only do one thing all day long, which one task contributes the greatest value to my career? Do this exercise 2 more times. Once you have identified the big 3, concentrate on them single-mindedly all day long. Identify your most important goals in life in each area. Organize them in priority. Make plans for their accomplishment and work on your plans every single day. You will be amazed at what you achieve in the month and years ahead.